Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about self-care for influencers and creators. I feel like this is a really important topic and it actually came up during one of the seminars that I hosted on my group trip this past weekend. So I definitely think we should talk about it and get into the nitty-gritty details. I actually am not going to be getting ready in this video like I normally am. I already am ready, but we're just going to talk about it and chat as we go through. So the first thing that I want to talk about is why I left TikTok in the first place. So I did make an entire video on this, but essentially what it boiled down to was that a lot of changes in the algorithm, but also on the app. Like the nature of the app has just completely and totally changed. And I mean, in comparison to when I started in 2020. So a lot of think pieces, a lot of drama, a lot of unnecessary things that I never ever wanted to be a part of and refused to be a part of. But on top of that, TikTok is a very unstable platform. I mean, I'm sure you have been aware of it with all these changes, the TikTok ban and things that are going on. So honestly, I think me leaving the platform at the time that I did, which was September of 2024, was appropriate for me. I then came over here to YouTube and I still do create on TikTok, so I haven't left entirely, although it still is an unstable platform and it's not really where I am, focusing my energy. So all that being said, there are a lot of things that I learned from leaving TikTok and from being in that position where I had to take a back seat to content creation for my own mental well-being. So one of the first things that I want to talk about though is burnout for creators. So it definitely is on the rise, especially with pop-ups of so many different apps right now. Like people know that TikTok is not as stable as it used to be, so they're trying to transition to other apps, which I think is a really great idea. However, no one really knows what app to go to. So I know people are trying to transition to YouTube. People are trying to build their platforms on Instagram. People are trying to figure out a way where they can be monetized on other apps like Fanbase, Spotify, Snapchat. I've even heard Blue Sky. Also, Substack is another one. There are just so many options for creators right now. And if you're someone that is new or trying to build your platform or build your following on multiple apps so that you're not relying on one single app, it can be really difficult and really tiring to have to work all apps all at the same time. So this video is going to be a combination of tangible things that you can do and also mental things that you can do to kind of maintain your boundaries and maintain your self-care and also just not burn out as a creator. I can't say that it's inevitable. I know some creators that actually don't go through burnout, but I find it more frequent that creators do actually go through burnout. So that's what this video is all about. I did make another one to talk about different things you can do to kind of balance your schedule, but this is going to be more of mental wellness in combination with tangible tips that you can do. So the first one is to have a separate in real life community. And I think the reason why I burnt out so bad when I was going through the whole TikTok thing was because I didn't have an in real life community. So if you guys don't know, I did move from Delaware to LA 2 years ago. And because I'm a travel creator and a travel influencer, I'm just not in LA all that often. I am obviously when I need to be, but for the last 2 years, I was always in another country doing something else. So it was really hard for me to really build a community in real life and to have people that I was connected to and trusted and liked. If you've moved to a new city, then you definitely know what it feels like. But to be a creator in this environment, it adds a different element, I would say. It just makes it a little bit tougher sometimes to meet people that you genuinely connect with when you are, in a public arena of some sort. So I definitely found that having an in real life community that was separate from content creation, not influencers or content creators or people who I just really bonded with and liked in my real life, was so helpful for me to just get out of my head and get off being online, to literally log myself out in real life and go do something else. So one of the ways I've been able to do that is by playing tennis. So I do have a tennis community here in LA. And I do a lot of in-person events. I will go to just random pop-up events in LA and just talk to strangers. I'll also go to different meetup events and stuff. So it's just really cool to have things to do in real life that takes my mind off of being online. And what I've noticed within myself is that once I leave my apartment, I am not on my phone anymore. I may take clips here and there if I'm doing a vlog of some sort, but generally speaking, I am not on my phone when I'm out in public. And I notice this a lot when I'm out with other people, when they get kind of awkward or they don't want to say or just don't really want to talk to you. They kind of pull out their phone as a safety precaution, not like safety, but people pull out their phones and kind of just like look down at it so they don't have to look at other people. And I find that I don't do that at all, especially since I now have an in real life community. Like when I leave my house, I am present in the moment and I'm looking around and I'm just there to like, I guess, observe people and just be present in the moment of what I'm doing. So I try not to be on my phone when I'm out. When I'm traveling, it's a totally different story because I'm typically working. But yeah, having an in real life community that is separate from content creation, and it can be kind of difficult to not have creator friends if being a creator is your full-time thing. But I would urge you, please just try it out. Just make friends with some people who aren't online. Even if they don't even have like a following and they just like don't use social media, like those are the most refreshing people to be around because you can just do whatever it is. They have no idea what's going on online and it's fine. So I like having an in real life community that aren't creators because it is refreshing. I do have friends that are creators, right? But I try to like build my community around people who I just genuinely like outside of the creator world. So the other thing that is super, super important is having boundaries online. And I see a lot of creators struggling with this, not just newer creators, but people who have been around for a long time of like trying to figure out what they want to share versus what they don't want to share. And also standing on business. Like I see so many creators that are like, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about it. And then what do you know? 2 weeks later, they putting out videos about it, you know? So if you decide that you're not going to talk about certain things online, don't bring it up. Don't hint at it. Don't talk about it. Even if it's a trending topic, I know it can be really tempting to talk about different trending topics because, you know, like it's trending, you know, you're going to get the views and you're going to get the engagement, but people do remember the things that you say and you talk about. So have boundaries about things that you will and will not discuss online. I make this super, super clear to my audience of like, listen, I'm not going to talk about this. So that's it. Occasionally I will make a joke here and there, but I try not to just roll back on my own boundaries because the thing about having boundaries is that you have to stand by them so that other people will also follow them. So if you're someone that's sharing a lot of your personal life, like really think about, do I want to share this? And also, if I decide to stop sharing it, right, am I all of a sudden going to revert? Like you really have to hold those boundaries with your audience to be like, listen, I told you I was going to talk about this. So it is what it is. That's it. Again, I've seen people like roll back on it and then it gets like kind of dicey. It just, I don't know. It's a strange situation. Just decide ahead of time, like, listen, I'm not going to talk about this at all. So that's it. I see this typically come into play with relationships. And it's like people will bring, you know, their significant other or something into their content. And then they're like, we broke up and we're not going to talk about it. You know, it's really up to your discretion. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to rule your own relationship and what you should and shouldn't put online, but you have to know, you know, what are you willing to share and not share and stand on it. Like if you say you're not going to share anything about your kids, don't share anything about your kids. That's it. The next thing I want to talk about is having like a physical cutoff time for your phone. This one is the absolute hardest. I swear I have struggled with this every single day. But what I've started to do, and I was just talking about it earlier, is that when I go outside, I am not on my phone. So even though it's my job to be on a bunch of different apps all at the same time, right? Once I go outside and I am, you know, at lunch with a friend or I go to coffee or I'm doing whatever, like if it is not work time, I'm not working. And that's super hard for me to like kind of balance or find the right balance when I'm traveling because like traveling is a huge part of my content. But when I'm in LA, like when I'm home, you will rarely ever see me on my phone unless I'm intentionally trying to work during that time block. So like sometimes I will go to a coffee shop and I will, you know, work on something. I'll, you know, be jotting down or bring some different ideas. I'll do journaling. I'll do some editing, like different things like that where I'm sending emails. Like I specifically set aside time that I'm going to be working. And then there are other times where I'm like, I'm not going to be my phone. I don't care what it is. Like if I am not vlogging for the day, like I'm not going to be my phone at all. And what I have found with a lot of creators that they have a difficult time with separating like their real life versus their online life. And not to say that those two things should be totally, completely different, but you need to have some type of separation where like, this is the things that I get to enjoy online. And these are things that I strictly enjoy in person. No one outside of my in-person life knows about it because it's just like, it's something that I like to keep to myself. So when I'm out in public, like I will talk about different places that I like if I'm vlogging, but other than that, I'm just there enjoying the moment. I'm not on my phone. Like even when I get in the elevator, I'm not on my phone. When I go to different restaurants, I'm not on my phone. I'm looking around. I will actually talk to the bartender when I sit at the bar and go on my like self-care dates. I don't know why that's such a strange thing for people to do, but I enjoy it a lot. And like the bartenders are there to make conversation with you. Like that's like, generally bartenders are like really friendly people. So I will go there and sit and talk to the bartender. I will not be on my phone at all. I have decided that my time to be online is when I am in my house and when it is, like working hours. So generally my work days will go, I wake up in the morning, I'll do my emails, I'll do some like very light editing, posting if I have to. And then in the afternoons and evenings, I will record my content. And then the next day I will spend like editing a bunch of content and stuff. So I kind of have like recording days and then I have editing days. Regardless of what day it is, whether it's a recording day or an editing day, I will stop at a certain time and be like, okay, I'm done for the day. And that time changes depending on what it is I have going on for the next few days, like what my schedule is looking like. But I do have a separation between when I'm on my phone versus when I am not, because it gets really, really difficult to separate your online life versus your in real life if you don't have that like time off, or like that brain break is what I call it. So try to find a time where you just literally are not doing anything that is work related. And typically a lot of lifestyle creators have a hard time with this, because if your content is lifestyle, where it's like you're vlogging or you're sharing your life or different elements of whatever it is you do, you kind of feel the need to record everything all the time to like be able to share online. But I cannot urge you enough to just have something that's to yourself. So even if you pick up a new hobby, just do that hobby for yourself. Don't post it online, don't share with anyone, just keep it to yourself. And this kind of ties into the next one, where it's like you don't have to monetize every single thing. So especially for lifestyle creators, like if you talk about, beauty and hair care, and also you vlog, different life or your outfits or whatever it may be, like have something that is just for you that is not monetized, because the moment it becomes monetizable, where you're like working with brands, where you're creating videos about it, where you're trying to like go viral for it or something, like when it becomes monetized, it's no longer your hobby. It becomes a part of your job. And having a separation between like your hobby and your job is super, super, super helpful. So one of the hobbies that I have outside of working is actually tennis. I really was only vlogging tennis just for fun. I didn't make it like any part of my monetization techniques, like literally nothing. It is literally just for fun for me. And that's why I think I enjoy it so much, because it has nothing to do with work. Like if I decide to record it, it's just for the fun of it. It's not because I'm trying to, make any strategy or do anything with it. It's just because I want to have fun. So if you're someone that is full-time and you're trying to or you want to go full-time and you're trying to figure out like how to have that separation, like keep one thing to yourself. Keep quiet. Don't share it. I don't care if it's crocheting or if it's gardening or if it's reading or whatever. Like just keep something to yourself. So that way it's just so sacred and precious to you, because when you have like a hard time with your content, regardless of whatever niche that it is, you can always go to that thing or go to that hobby and be able to do it carelessly, right? Like you won't be worried about like, oh, I have to get the right angle, I have to get the right shot, I have to edit this video, I have to post this, blah, blah, blah. Having a hobby that is not monetized is super, super important, especially in this creator world, because you can literally monetize anything. And that is what makes it, I think, so difficult for people to continuously do, is because if your entire life is monetized and you're constantly putting out content, you're constantly worried about money, you're constantly trying to, get different opportunities through your lifestyle content or whatever it is that you post, it just becomes less fun overall for you to do that thing every single day. Like you don't really enjoy it as much when it becomes a part of your job as opposed to being a part of your hobby. So yeah, try not to monetize every single thing. I know it sounds crazy, but like once you find the one niche, or maybe it's 2 or 3 niches that you can create content about consistently and you don't get tired of it, and you have a separate hobby, life is a lot better. I promise you. It's so much more enjoyable, because then you can do all of your work stuff and then you can actually go and enjoy your hobby. Not to say that you won't enjoy your work stuff, but it's just a very different vibe if you can just have your hobby and not be worried about how it performs, or how to record it or how to edit it or how to present it or have any kind of content strategy behind it. It's just a lot more fun when you just have a hobby for yourself. So the next thing I do, and these are getting to the tangible tips, is that I will batch create content when I can. So if you guys have been following my series here on YouTube, I have been posting every single day different content creator tips that I, want to talk about, people that have asked me to talk about. And I will batch create those videos so that I'm not constantly behind the camera and constantly having to edit. And it makes it so much easier for me because I have rest days. Like everyone has rest days. When you work a regular job, you have, your weekends. So you have your 2 days off a week. When you're a creator, it's kind of hard for you to have that, set time off. So what I've done is I've set some days to be creating days, and then some days to be editing days, and then some days to be rest days. Now, what that actually looks like tangibly is that my work days are actually Saturdays. I don't know why, but Saturday is a really, really productive day for me. I think it's actually, maybe it's because people are always out and it's really busy, like in real life, because everyone else is off work. So I'm like, I'm just going to work inside because, it's not going to bother me. Like, it doesn't really matter. So I like to work on Saturdays. I typically will work until like 2 or 3 o'clock, and I will batch create a bunch of content, and then I will, like deal with it on Monday. So typically like Friday and Sunday are my rest days, but not always. Like, sometimes it depends on my schedule, whatever it is I have going on for that week. But I always make sure I have a rest day in there. And my rest days, again, look different than everyone else's, if you work a full-time job, but I have a rest day. I think especially a lot of entrepreneurs find it difficult to rest because they're like, oh, I have to be working, I have to be hustling, I have to be doing all these things. You don't always have to be. Like, yes, you can, but you can definitely schedule in some rest days where, you just give your brain a break for the day. And it really, really helps when you have those rest days, because then you like have something to look forward to. And you also are literally giving your brain a break where you're not constantly thinking about something. So the rest days are super, super important for me. And again, it really depends on my schedule, depends on what I have going on. Like, my rest days are not the same days every single week, but I do make sure that I put in some rest days every single week so that I can, relax and not constantly thinking about work, constantly thinking about different ideas or editing or content or performance or any of that stuff, right? So everyone needs to have a rest day. Make sure you have one. The last thing I would talk about is having just open communication with your audience. If you guys have noticed, I will, make different announcements and stuff on my community tab to make sure you guys know what's going on. Like I said, I have been posting videos every single day, and I missed one day because I didn't plan it properly, which was totally my fault. But I told everyone, like, hey, there's not gonna be a video today. Anytime I go on a trip and I realize I haven't had a rest day, I'll tell you guys on the vlog, like, hey, I actually am staying another 2 days, but I'm not gonna be recording those 2 days because I really need to rest and just like relax, and I want to enjoy this destination. So I'm super open about me resting and about me creating and like what to expect from me, when to expect it, all those things. And I think my audience likes that. Like, they know what's coming from me. It's not gonna be a surprise every single week or a surprise every single day. Like, you know what to expect. And people like when you are reliable and then when you hold true to your own word. So if I came over here and I was like, I'm gonna post every day, and then I only posted like 4 times a week, right? You'd be like, wow, she's a liar. Oh my God, this girl, she can't get it together. Oh my gosh, she never posts when she says she gonna post. Like, it would be really, really annoying for me to do that as a watcher, right? Like, as an audience member. So be open and honest with your community, about whatever it is that you're doing. So if you say you're gonna post, 3 times a week, do that 3 times a week. If you say that, you're having a really hard time with getting out 3 times a week, let them know and be like, hey, I'm having a hard time with this, so I'm going to roll it back, and, I'm going to post once a week because that's what's really doable for me right now. It's not bad to be honest about whatever you're talking about or going through. Of course, like, do it with poise, right? Like, don't come in here and just like spill all your dirty laundry on us about whatever it is you're going through. But be just honest about whatever it is that you are actually going through, right? Like, I will tell people, hey, I'm not really having the best day, or hey guys, I'm really sick, or whatever it is, right? Like, I'm just openly communicative with my audience. And I will also communicate my boundaries too, of like, listen, I'm not gonna talk about this topic, so that's it. Like, we're done with that. Let's move on to the next thing, and just keep it at that. Like, no one is forcing you to talk about certain things. Like, I know there can be a lot of pressure to try to, appease your followers, because in a way, like, they kind of are your, like, people say, like, your followers are your boss, where, if they like the content, then you get paid. If they don't like the content, then you don't get paid. But at the same time, like, you as a creator have to maintain your own mental wellness and safety. So do what is good for you. That's what it is. Most people, LA and these damn sirens. Most people will respect your boundaries. They are actually completely and totally understanding of whatever it is that is happening, as long as you remain reliable, right? If you say, hey, I need to take off a few weeks, I'll let you guys know when I'm coming back, and then you come back and you let them know, and then you say, all right, now we're back at it and we're doing it, right? People are going to be following you, and they're still going to be invested in whatever you have to say. It's not a bad thing to communicate. It's actually a really, really good thing. So just keep that in mind as you go through the rest of the year. So hopefully you guys found these burnout tips helpful. Hopefully you don't actually get burnt out, right? Hopefully you take all this in and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna follow every single thing you did, and you never have to experience it. Like I said, I don't think that's all that common for people to never go through burnout in this creator industry, because everything moves so quickly, so fast, and there's this feeling of like always being left behind in some way. But you really got to find a balance and figure out, what works best for you, so you can maintain your mental wellness while being a creator, and hopefully, growing your audience, your following, and getting those opportunities. So again, if you guys like this video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.